Like after a kid is shot, what is their timeline? They get shot, they go home. What goes on? Are they peeing on themselves? Are they defecating on themselves? Are they in fear of returning back to school because they're having the nightmares? Is their work dropping because they're staying up all night, freaking out in cold sweats, and now when they come to school, they're not prepared to do the work, so now they're flunking out, so now the shot kid becomes the flunked out kid? Or do they rearm themselves as they're a victim, and now they become a perpetrator, an angry perpetrator of gun violence? We have no data. There's no data. We have no input. We haven't even begun to talk to young people and treat them as a victim, which is the biggest problem in all of this. That if you're an urban male in the inner city, in the L, live in the hood, and you got shot, well, damn it, you must have been doing something to deserve it. That's the attitude. And if you didn't, then why don't you tell me who shot you? Man up. Don't be a chicken. Don't be a punk. You know who shot you. It's your neighborhood. It's not my neighborhood. You gonna tell or not? Because if you ain't gonna tell me, I ain't got all day. Other people out here need me to do the same thing I'm doing to you. Victimize you again. So until we break that, we're gonna keep seeing this, overused word, cycle of violence. The difference is with these kids, when that cycle comes back around, how many times does a victim become a perpetrator, become a victim perpetrator ignored by general society, become alienated by family, become reclassified by clergy, become recategorized, by the mainstream urban developers? How many times? How many times before what happens? And if that is what my life is during my most important time of mental development as a young person, when self-esteem is at your lowest, when you're most vulnerable, when you're most influential, when you're already dealing with things beyond your control, the chemical imbalance of testosterone and estrogen and all of these other things feeding off of you, and you are just, look at you. You look at you. What are you? It's like the color purple. You're black, Puerto Rican, you're in the way, okay? You're stupid because you ain't graduating out of school. You're stupid because you're getting shot, okay? You're stupid because you keep going back and forth to jail. You can't keep your penis in your pants. You know what I mean? Look at your mother. Look at your father in jail. Your brother got shot. Look, you see, that's how you want to be? You want to be like the candle right there? Is that what your life is? What is that? Oh, that's scared straight. I forgot about that. Because, see, we tried that back, I thought, in the late 70s. And now everybody says, don't do scared straight because that didn't have a result. In fact, we found that the kids that did the scared straight were more likely to commit crimes. So why are we using scared straight tactics all across the board? From the doctors to the law enforcement officers, firefighters, the reverends, mom, dad, ice cream man, everybody. Is that the only song in town? And obviously it's not working because gun violence amongst youth is now at an all-time high. The message is to Obama, he now, as commander-in-chief, as we always say, he has to set the tone for the country. He has to come out. He's got to get behind the desk of the Oval Office and have that intimate conversation with America and say, I'm here, America, with you tonight to address a serious issue, one of the most pervasive cancers that is eating away at the fiber of our American culture. It is eroding away our general state budgets. It is literally collapsing our federal budgets, and it is putting the most unbelievable mental and physical strain on our future leaders, our youth, than we can possibly imagine. urban gun violence. Urban gun violence in America is becoming, and has been for many communities, the #1 cause of death. We've got young people that are dying before 20 years old in the same neighborhood over and over again. And he's got to make atonement for his own city of Chicago, where you can go on the internet and you can see one lady had 2 twin sons, and she buried both of them before they turned 21 years old, and then buried a third son from that same family. You can't run for office on a platform of being a community organizer and then become president and don't acknowledge that. If we want to slip into the realm of identifying that role as a community organizer as being a black community organizer, then you cannot separate that culture identity with the tragedy of that culture. And the tragedy in Chicago is kids is dying. And now you're president. You probably couldn't say it when you was senator, because you probably couldn't say it. And we understand that. But you're the president now. And you buying car corporations. You're taking over energy resources for a new America. You're rewriting history for an entire planet. Don't tell me we can't cure gun violence. And don't tell me that somebody would be mad at you if you got on a plane and flew back to Chicago and held a press conference with all your old community organizers and all those family members reaching out to them and saying to them, listen, I can't feel what you feel because I have not lost a child to gun violence. But when I sit in my room at night and just think about it happening, I'm here to identify with you about that. And now I'm here to deliver the payload so that what happened to your child, we will take every step so it will never happen to another child in this city, Philadelphia, New Orleans, for crying out loud, which has like a 400 increase in homicides by urban gun violence since Hurricane Katrina, and a large portion of the population in the urban sector don't even live there. How does that happen? And so I believe that most of that solution has to come from the top, because the people in charge set the tone. And if he sets the tone as president, that money will come down. And if it's applied like the stimulus money to bail out the banks, hey, look at it like this. Pretend that the urban community is the bank. And pretend all of the people in that community is the money. And every time someone dies in that community from gun violence, we lose $1 million. That bank would lose $1 million. And that bank can't afford to lose not even a penny to stay afloat. And if we take that approach, okay, now you know how to bring the money.